every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Prime Time News. I'm Gete. In our major story, President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Germany for the G7 summit with a wish list. Also in this program, Ahmed Lawan emerges as the preferred candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the Senate presidency. Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, says Nigerians have proven doomsday prophecies wrong. And outside Nigeria, Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country is not a threat to the West. Good to have you. Stay tuned with us now. Details of the headlines and other stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in Munich, Germany, unarmed with what government officials described as a wish list, in line with the demand of the group of 7 G7 industrialized countries. The G7 had earlier requested that the then president-elect to prepare a shopping list and come with it for their consideration in what is seen as a goodwill gesture towards the new leader and the country. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said in a statement from Munich that top on the list of the request President Buhari will tender before the G7 leaders is a problem of security. The president said he has used every opportunity at his disposal ahead of this meeting to discuss the country's needs with specific reference to terrorism and development needs at person-to-person meetings and phone conversations with some of these leaders. He also noted that the leaders of the industrialized nations have shown a preparedness to work with Nigeria to help the country out of her problems. President Buhari is scheduled to hold meetings on the sidelines with the host, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, the French President François Hollande, Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and the World Bank President Jim Yong Kim. The People's Democratic Party has accused the All Progressives Congress of double standard and insecurity. It said the party once chastised former President Goodluck Jonathan for seeking regional cooperation in finding solution to the challenges of insecurity. It said it was unfortunate that the same party has been hailing President Muhammadu Buhari for towing the same line of seeking help from neighboring countries to fight Boko Haram. PDP National Publicity Secretary Lisa Metu, in a statement in Abuja on Sunday, said in the days ahead, Nigerians should expect further unmasking of APC's double standard and blackmail upon which he said the party rode to power. He also condemned the venom with which he said that the APC attacked well-meaning Nigerians for daring to offer constructive criticisms to President Buhari following apparent loss of tempo in the fight against insurgency since he took office, describing such as unacceptable in a democracy, especially in a country like Nigeria, where the citizens have been enjoying freedom of expression in the last 16 years under the PDP. Metu also alleged that since the APC took over power at the center, there has been no clear sign of seriousness and direction, but confusion, self-infighting, in hysteria for positions of power, while the nation drifts, noting that the situation is unhealthy for democracy and national development. Metu also observed that those some jostling for political officers were expected among politicians and a democracy. Nigerians are not comfortable with the confusion in the APC camp and the dimension it has assumed. The All Progressives Congress on Sunday put through its plan for a consensus candidate for the position of Senate President with the adoption of Hamed Lawan. The mock election, however, had only 35 out of 59 APC senators elect in attendance because a large chunk of the incoming senators backing Bukola Saraki for the post boycotted the process. At the end of the vote, the Yobe North senator secured 33 out of 35 votes, while George Akume emerged as Deputy Senate President. Designate correspondent Helen Okpara Chukwunike witnessed the late-night process at the International Conference Center. Her report is presented from our studios.
The meeting earlier scheduled for 8 p.m. could not begin until late into the night. But surprisingly, only 35 out of 59 APC senators-elect showed up for the party summons. Conspicuous in their absence were the other contender for the seat, Bukola Saraki, and key leaders of what is now known as the like-minded senators. Thereafter, the party's leadership engaged them in a closed-door meeting, apparently to smoothen some rough edges of their persuasion for the members to depict a common voice. Chairman of the party, John Oyegun, after calling in the media, outlined the pattern of the election and nominations began.
Transparency will be our watchword. Apparently, some of us still have some difficulties adjusting to this reality. But as time goes on, like the candidate said, as time goes on, this spirit of change must begin to percolate in every single thing that we do.
Senator Lawan's nomination was seconded by Senators Oluremi Tinubu and Robert Boroface, while Shehu Sani nominated Senator George Akume for Deputy Senate President. Given that there was no counter nominations, voting then commenced in an open ballot system, with counting and results done immediately.
Senator Abdullahi Adamu. 1, 2, 3, 4.
After having satisfied that Senator Dr. Ahmed Lawan has fulfilled all requirements of the party and has scored highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared as the sole candidate of the All Progressive Congress.
At the end, Lawan, the sole candidate, polled 33 votes to emerge Senate President designate. George Akume secured 31 for Deputy Senate President. Ironically, Senator Ahmed Abubakar's votes for the two candidates were voided, having voted for nobody. APC's choice for the Senate presidency then proceeded to make an acceptance, promising to reach out to PDP senators.
I want to assure Nigerians that the legislature, the federal legislature, the Senate and the House, as chairman of the National Assembly, if I become the Senate President, from Tuesday, by the grace of God, will be a legislature that is for Nigerians.
APC leaders have scaled the first stage and may have guaranteed 33 votes for Lawan, but there are 76 more at stake in the 109-seat chamber. Analysts and political watchers say there is still a lot more work to be done between now and Tuesday to win over the Saraki group.
APC senators-elect backing the aspiration of Bukola Saraki have, however, rejected the outcome of the mock election conducted by the party leaders. They explained in a statement jointly signed by Dino Melaye and Sani Yerima that they decided to boycott the process because APC leaders insist on open ballot system as opposed to the open secret used for the House of Representatives. The group, which tagged themselves senators of like minds, maintained that they have resolved to wait till Tuesday to pick the Senate president of their choice. They also argue that they have 65 senators-elect across party lines in their ranks and would prove their strength on election day. Members of the House of Representatives who were backing the candidature of Yakubu Dogara for the speakership have dismissed the process that led to the emergence of House Minority Leader Femi Gbajabiamila as the consensus candidate. Briefing newsmen on Sunday in Abuja, spokesman for the group, Abdul Munim Jibrin, said it was fraudulent to inform the public that an election was held and Gbajabiamila got 154 votes, while Yakubu Dogara had 3 votes. Representative Jibrin said the mock election was a mockery of democracy because Dogara's supporters walked out of the venue even before the process began. The All Progressives Congress APC is reaching out to all its members in the incoming 8th National Assembly who may be aggrieved after the emergence of the party official candidates on Saturday. The party said in a statement issued in Abuja that on Sunday by its National Secretary Mai Malabuni that it is natural for some members to be disappointed by the outcome of the straw poll that was conducted to elect the party's official candidates for the post of Senate President and House of Representatives. The APC explained that its role in the entire business of ensuring a common front within the party ahead of Tuesday's election is that of an honest broker, saying its goal of ensuring that the party does not go into the election with more than one candidate for each post has now been achieved. The party appealed to all aggrieved members to sheath their swords and allow peace to reign in the overall interest of not just the party, but the entire nation. Former head of state Ernest Shonekong has charged Nigerians to support the new administration of Muhammad Buhari. The former head of the interim national government says Nigerians should exercise patience with the Muhammad Buhari-led administration to ensure that the nation gets to the next level.
I think, as I said, we've made a lot of progress. I think the new president can only just build on the progress that has been made so far. But it will require the support of each and every one of us to make him succeed. He has to succeed because continents are competing amongst themselves. Countries are competing amongst themselves. Companies are competing amongst themselves. So we cannot be an island to ourselves. We must join the competition. And in order to be able to make the load lighter, each and every one of us must contribute a quota to make sure that it succeeds.
The People's Democratic Party has urged a national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, to call the Lagos State chapter of his party to order. According to the Lagos PDP, the APC leadership is trying to interfere in the democratic selection of the leadership of the Lagos State House of Assembly, scheduled to be inaugurated on Monday. In a statement issued on Sunday by its publicity secretary, Taufik Gani, the party stated that the call was necessitated by the confirmed moves of lobbying and coercion of members of the House in order to vote in favor of a particular member, which the PDP describes as not likely to represent the interest of the masses, but the interest of his godfathers. The PDP therefore tasked the APC in Lagos to justify its slogan of change by not stage managing elections in the state. It particularly asked Tinubu to caution other leaders so as not to allow free and fair election of the House leadership. It, however, admonished its 8 members in the House of Assembly to vote according to their best assessment and conscience for the betterment of the state. It's CoreTV Prime Time News. We will be right back after this time out. Stay with us.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. and you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident, and it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Now a quick reminder of our major stories. President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Germany for the G7 summit with a wish list. Ahmed Lawan emerges as the preferred candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the Senate presidency. Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, says Nigerians have proven doomsday prophecies wrong. Now, do not forget that you can also catch us on our social media platforms on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News, on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, and on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV News. The People's Democratic Party has advised Osun State Governor Ralph Aregbesola to sell the helicopter purchased for the security surveillance and stop wasteful spending in order to raise money to pay salaries of workers in the state. The Director of Media and Strategy of the PDP in Osun State, Duron Odeyemi, gave the advice in a statement in Osogbo on Sunday. The opposition party also accused the governor of wasting the state's resources and politics and arming of a group of youth he called State Boys. The PDP called on the new members of the Osun State House of Assembly not to turn themselves to rubber stamp of the executive arm of the government. According to the party, the people of the state now place their hope on the lawmakers to check the excesses of the governor in the interest of the masses. However, the governor described the suggestions and allegations from the opposition party as infertile. Speaking through a statement issued by his media aide, Semiu Okunlawon, Aregbesola said the PDP was just seeking cheap publicity with their suggestions and spurious allegations. A Bayelsa State High Court sitting in Yenagoa will on Tuesday give accelerated hearing in the suit brought before it by the suspended chairman of the party, People's Democratic Party, Sam Inokoba. Inokoba had gone to court over the activities of the PDP's disciplinary committee, which expelled some members for alleged anti-party activities. The case instituted by Inokoba and Osom Blankson is challenging the constitution of the committee. The court presided over by the Chief Judge, Kate Abiri, refused to grant an order for an interim injunction filed by the applicant and directed the council to proceed with the originating motion. Abiri ruled that the disciplinary committee had already taken some actions by expelling and suspending some members and also granting an injunction and will have no effect anymore. She then adjourned the case until Tuesday for the substantive matter to begin. The Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, has paid tributes to Nigerians for proving wrong those that predicted that the disintegration of Nigeria in the aftermath of the 2015 election. He said this at the annual conference of the Jamaatul Nasser Islam in Kaduna. Amina Inebi has more in this report presented from our studios.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, was full of praises to God for shaming countries that wanted Nigeria to disintegrate after the 2015 general elections. Speaking at the JNI Annual National Conference, he noted that some Nigerians have similar thoughts. The Sultan urged the citizenry to always work for a united country.
I call on all other well-meaning Nigerians and non-Nigerians to please come to the aid of these our brothers and sisters who are in difficult circumstances. Alhamdulillah, it's my pleasure to formally hand over these 15 trucks in particular to the Sheikh of Borno for Borno State, Lamid of Adamawa for Adamawa State, Emir of Fika for Yobe State.
Two papers were presented at the annual conference. Saliu Abubakar presented a paper on the responsibilities of the people towards the leaders.
Once a person is appointed a leader through an agreed process that is conducted in a just and fair manner, we are expected to believe that it is Almighty Allah that has made the person leader and should be accepted as such without revolting against him.
Tijani El-Miskin, for his part, spoke on duties and responsibilities of the leader towards the people.
While a leader leads his constituency by virtue of embodying their hopes, their aspirations, their ideas, through appropriate character, message, and advocacy, ahead is a product of a mere formality, brought about by the accident of being positioned at the head of that constituency, either through peaceful selection, election, appointment, or deceitful or forcible elevation.
Time has come for the Muslim Ummah in Nigeria, under its leadership and scholarship, political and non-political, to set example of purposeful leadership and followership as enjoined by Allah the Exalted, such that we will once more be a force to be reckoned with and envied for our indelible impact.
Other highlights include the distribution of relief materials to internally displaced persons.
An anti-corruption group, Civil Society Network Against Corruption, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to revoke the oil pipeline protection contract awarded to a company linked to a former Niger Delta militant government, Ekpemukpolo, also known as Tompolo. In a June 4, 2015 letter by its chairman, Olarenwaju Suraju, and addressed to President Buhari, the group said despite the whopping sum of $103 million paid to Tompolo by the Goodluck Jonathan administration, the nation's pipelines remained insecure. CSNAC, which made a copy of the letter available to journalists on Sunday, said since Tompolo took over the security of the pipelines, crude oil theft had increased from 250,000 barrels per day before the contract to 400,000 barrels per day. He also describes as a coalition of over 150 anti-corruption organizations, also referred to a newspaper report quoting the pioneer chairman of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Hamed Tijani Ramalan, saying that the agency pays 1.5 billion naira monthly to Tompolo for the said contract. The group therefore called on President Buhari to revoke the contract and make the Nigerian Navy and other related government agency to henceforth undertake the task. Nigerian Navy has assured the citizenry of safety in the nation's waterways through effective policing. This, the Navy says, it is ready to achieve through more collaboration with relevant agencies in the maritime industry. The resolve was made at the seminar at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna. We will bring you more details in our subsequent news bulletin. A joint security team has raided a village called Keke B on the outskirts of Kaduna. The operation was targeted at 2 Boko Haram suspects, and it involved a team of soldiers and state security operatives. CoreTV News learned that one soldier died in the gun battle, while the suspect was said to have escaped, leaving their wives. Eyewitnesses say the operation took place between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. No official reaction is forthcoming from the military authorities several hours after the gun battle. A suicide bomb was struck at the popular market in Maiduguri, capital of Borno State, on Saturday, killing an unspecified number of people. A security source disclosed that the incident occurred around 4:10 p.m. The source added that the incident happened during a rainfall. Efforts to confirm the development from the State Police Public Relations Officer Gideon Jibrin did not yield any result. With Boko Haram insurgency showing no sign of abating, 900 children and women displaced by the insurgency in the northeast have been discovered in a remote village near Benin City, the Edo state capital. A correspondent who visited the camp filed in this report.
This pastor, Solomon Folorenshaw, who leads the Christian group that is in charge of the camp, says the internally displaced persons in the last 2 years of their arrival have overstretched the facility initially built for 400 persons. According to him, the center, which was established in 1992 to take care of the less privileged, is now home to these Nigerians who are refugees in their own country.
Before we saw the need of the children in the northeast who Boko Haram killed their parents and displaced. Some of them ran to the mountains, some eating sand, some eating stones, some eating leaves. A lot of them went to the caves, were killed by pythons, chimpanzee and tigers, and there were a lot who started dying of cholera and malnutritious disease, and many fled to Cameroon. And then I started getting phone calls from our pastor's friends there that we from the south here should help to rescue these children.
Evelyn Omege, the camp guide who conducted newsmen around the camp, disclosed that about 100 of them, both boys and girls who had chickenpox, have been quarantined in a separate facility to avoid the spread of the disease, while others were in different classrooms as part of efforts to help reintegrate them.
So all of them are having chickenpox. So we have to separate them and bring them here while we are giving them medication.
Some of the displaced spoke of their experience of Boko Haram terrorists in Goza and other places in the state.
After going to the mountain, they now follow us. They kill some people and they even kill my husband. In this mountain, there is no food. We are just eating leaves.
Kuma da sun kashe mai gidana din na je na nime shi da na same shi na binne shi mun dade baka samun sa mishi.
I was just looking for my husband. She was just looking for her husband. After she have seen her husband, she now buried him and just put some sand on top of the husband.
Bayan kwana biyu kuma sun zo sun same ni su ɗibe mu da yaran mu da yarana sun kai mu Goza.
After 2 days, they now come and kidnap us, she and her children.
But when they have started killing the people, pursuing the people, getting to 3 months, we are sleeping in the cave of the mountain. When they have attacked that place, some of us, they have run, some of us, they have stayed long there. But when they turn, we think that this thing, it will not come to the end. We have reached to Cameroon around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock before you trek. Even you are trekking to that Cameroon, you will not go in direct way because there are some other way. If you reach there, they will just catch you and kill you there. That's how I have escaped there, and I have reached to Jalingo.
The displaced, however, say they are thankful and express their appreciation to the Christian community, University of Benin Teaching Hospital, and the Nigerian Medical Association for the free treatment. At the time of filing this report, the state's government was yet to visit the place.
The crisis of Obaship in Ikerikiti has escalated as the kingmakers of the town say they have performed the necessary rites and chosen an Ogoga elect through consultation of Ifa Oracle and voting the women of the town in a protest reject the selection process, saying the Ifa Oracle is the only way to select a king, calling the government to disregard the process and order a fresh selection process. Rashid reports from Ikerikiti.
Voted, if I spoke, we wrote everything. The chairman, the secretary of the government was there.
The head of Ikere Kingmakers speaking on the process which produced Jimiadu, the Ogoga elect. But in sharp rejection of the selection process, Ikere women in a protest which cut across the major streets of Ikere Ekiti, starting from Araromi area and terminating at the palace, chanting different war songs, say only the oracle can be used to select a king, not by election.
The king's makers are bent on voting, whereas they are to consult the oracle. From time immemorial, it's the oracle that is used in choosing a king, not by election.
The state government was quoted to have written Ikere to expedite action in choosing a new king. But this set of Ikere citizens are saying a new selection process must be initiated to avert chaos in the town.
This time that the chieftaincy, the kingmaker in this town use to go and select the king. And where they select the king, the man they select is not from royal family. If they can allow us to select our king from the right sources, there will be no any problem within the town.
The state government, fully aware of the crisis brewing in Ikere, says activities are underway to stem the tide.
They have a right to ask for a new selection process. We have a department that will look into that. And then, of course, we are a government of the people. We'll see where the majority view lies, and we would do justice.
Ikere Ekiti is the second largest town in Ekiti State, and the state government, just coming out of one political crisis, cannot afford to have another communal crisis to contend with. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ikere Ekiti.
The Anglican Diocese of Nigeria, organizers of the Biennial Mothers Union Conference, has over 3,000 women come together to address the issues that concern women in the nation and how they can be better helpers in the society. At St. Andrew Anglican Church, Ofeme Ohuhu North of Umuahia North Local Government, correspondent Ajibade Awofeso was there. Further in this report. We do apologize we cannot bring you that report immediately, but we'll study it out and bring it to you subsequently. It's CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break and be back with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. Just stay with us.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
The nation's exchange reserve has been depleted by $469 million in the past 2 weeks. The figure from the Central Bank of Nigeria has revealed after hitting $29.819 billion on May 18, 2015. The country's forex reserve commenced a descent that dragged on for more than 2 weeks and stood at $29.35 billion on June 3, 2015. The reserves, which was $29.481 billion on April 16, 2015, has risen to its highest level of $29.819 billion on May 18th. But this figure could not be sustained by the Apex Bank, a development that analysts said was caused by the demand for dollar by importers. It was also learned that instability in the prices of crude on the global oil and gas market had not helped matters, as this had often rubbished efforts put in by the CBN to sustain the reserves. Workers under the aegis of Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria have called on the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to fulfill its cash call obligations to its joint venture partners in the oil and gas sector. According to the association, a strong commitment to the joint venture operation budget is crucial to the country's foreign exchange earnings, adding that failure to sustain the production volume will put the expected revenue at great risk. The President, Pengason Francis Johnson, making recommendations to the new government on the oil and gas sector reforms, urged the NNPC not to allow its equity in the oil industry fall below 50% in exchange for financial gains that would not be sustained. He said joint venture operations constitutes the crucial source of our foreign exchange earnings. Any failure to sustain the production volume will put the streams of revenue at great risk. The NNPC should, as a matter of urgency, meet its cash call obligations to the GV partners. And now sports. The Nigeria under-20 team, fueled by a deafening noise at the stadium at Taranaki, put their Hungarian opponents to a sword 2-0 in the final Group E game played on Sunday morning. A brace from Taiwo Awoniyi was all the reigning African youth champions needed to silence Brent Stokes, who started the game rightly. With this victory, the Flying Eagles will now face European champions Germany in the second round of the tournament billed for June 11th at the Christchurch Stadium. The Flying Eagles' first chance came in the 16th minute when Awoniyi's short-range header was saved by goalkeeper Gregory Skelly, who gave a good account of himself in the highly entertaining encounter. Awoniyi got the cotton razor in the 33rd minute after volleying past him from the near post after receiving a low cross from impressive Xavier Godwin. On resumption of the second half, Manu Garba's team continued their dominant play through Mario Nemeth had a couple of chances to put his team back, but Joshua Enaholo denied him. In the 54th minute, Awoniyi doubled his lead after rounding the Hungarian goalkeeper before slotting into an empty net after a moment of carelessness from the European backline. The goals were recorded after then as Nigeria cruised to the last 16, where they will face Germany in the knockout phase. Even at this defeat, Hungary will still qualified as one of the best third-place teams and will now kick off the knockout phase against Group D winners Serbia in Dundee. African champions Super Falcons will begin their campaign at the 2015 World Cup in Canada against Sweden on Monday. They have a Herculean task of surpassing the achievement of the 1999 team, reports say. The Super Falcons begin their Canada 2015 Women's World Cup campaign on Monday with a crucial opening game against Sweden at the Winnipeg Stadium. The Falcons, who departed Toronto, venue of final training camp for Winnipeg on Thursday, are in Group D with two-time champions USA, Sweden and Australia. Nigeria, alongside the Sweden's Brazil, Germany, Japan, Norway and the United States have competed in every edition of the competition, which began in 1991. Among these countries, the Falcons have the last pedigree at the World Cup with a quarter-final outing in 1999, their best ever performance at the event. The Falcons have recorded the highest number of losses, 14 in the competition, and also conceded 50 goals, the most by any team. They also have the lowest goal difference of 35. These statistics, however, belies the Falcons' dominance of the game on the continent. Only twice have the African champions failed to win the African Women Champion since its inception in 1998. Equatorial Guinea are the only other winners in 2008 and 2012. Barcelona claimed their third Champions League in 6 years as the brilliance of the attacking fleet proved too much for the brave challenge of Juventus in Berlin's Olympic Stadium on Saturday. It was Barca's fifth Champions League win in a thrilling spectacle, and with both Barcelona and Juventus attempting to claim a treble after winning domestic league and cup competitions, it was Luis Enrique's side that eventually came out on top. Barcelona started as if they would rob to a comfortable victory when Ivan Rakitic capped the sort of passing move that has become their symbol to put them ahead inside 5 minutes. Juventus already a danger after ending notions of an El Clasico final by beating Real Madrid in the last 4. It showed fierce resilience, and with veteran keeper held on for Alvaro Morata to scramble in equalizer before the hour. And now outside Nigeria, Iraqi forces, with the support of the U.S., are now in control of BGCT military and military sources confirmed on Sunday. Forces have clinched and are in control completely of government complex, city center, Fatah Mosque, main mosque, and surrounding neighborhoods. Tashin Ibrahim, a spokesman for the Iraqi Defense Ministry, confirmed. He credited the U.S. with a significant role supporting Iraqi ground forces in the assault. He did not provide specifics on what kind of support the forces received. ISIS forces who had seized the city fled back towards Mosul and were under air attack while retreating, according to Ibrahim. Russia President Vladimir Putin says his country was not a threat to the West and that he was still committed to a Ukraine peace deal despite a fresh flare-up in violence. According to an Italian newspaper, he says there is no need to be afraid of Russia. In an interview published on Saturday, ruling out a major conflict between Russia and NATO member countries, his comments come as 3 Baltic countries prepare to ask for permanent presence of NATO troops as a detriment to the Russian military. NATO says Russia is backing rebels in Ukraine, which Moscow still denies. These comments come ahead of his visit to Italy next week that will include a meeting with Pope Francis. And that's CoreTV Primetime News. But before we wrap up the bulletin, a reminder of our major stories. President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Germany for the G7 summit with a wish list. Ahmed Lawan emerges as the preferred candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the Senate presidency. We also told you that the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, says Nigerians have proven doomsday prophecies wrong. And that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for staying on with us. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift.